Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. Today, Sarah and I will be jumping right into our second half of our Harley Quinn recap. We'll be covering all of season 2 and getting you all caught up for the season 3 premiere. No check-ins today, we're just going to get right into it. All right, season 2, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, season 2. It's going to start out and we're going to see the President of the United States making an announcement.
Gotham is no longer part of the U.S.
Too much of a mess, and the president doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yep.
Which seems fair. It seems like a lot of resources need to go into this specific city.
Yeah. But Harley is having the time of her life. It is utter chaos, and she is enjoying it to the max.
Yeah. Because also the Legion of Doom is no more either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just all the good stuff about Gotham is destroyed. It's like the bad guys had all their stuff destroyed too. But we're going to find out that there are surviving members of the Legion of Doom who are going to call themselves the Injustice League.
But yeah, they're trying to divide up Gotham.
Yeah, so there's 5 of them. It's Bane, Two-Face, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, and Riddler are like the 5 bad guys that are calling themselves the Injustice League. And they're going to go ahead and like divide Gotham into like 5 territories. And so each territory is like themed around like whatever that villain's theme is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they like half-heartedly try to get Harley to join because she had caused shenanigans with all of their henchmen, but she doesn't want to. And then Mr. Freeze freezes her.
Yeah, they don't even like put any effort into like tricking her. Like I think like Riddler's just like, of course you'll be getting the shitty parts of Gotham or something. Like
Yeah.
like they really like don't even pretend like they're giving her respect. It's
Mhm.
really, yeah. And this whole dividing of Gotham like kind of reminded me of like a video game where
Oh,
like
yeah.
you
yeah.
have like the Mr. Freeze level and the Penguin level and the Two-Face level. Yeah.
Yes.
I like this like dystopian Gotham where it's all divided up in segments.
hmm
But when Harley refuses to join them, they're like, okay, then I guess you're our enemy. And then Mr. Freeze actually just ices Harley.
Yep. Just
And
immediately.
she's stuck in a block of ice, but the crew is going to rescue her.
Yes. And like she is put up as like a decoration in the Penguins like bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And so in this process of rescuing her, she straight up murders the Penguin
Yeah.
and finds out that she's been iced for like 2 months. And she's like, none of this. I'm taking the rest of them down. And that's like her goal for this season is to kill the rest of the Injustice League.
Yeah, she has like a board with like the Injustice League on it, and she actually has it as 6 people. Like she includes the Joker, and then she has like an X through the Joker and the Penguin. Like they're dead.
Yep.
I don't think Scarecrow was good enough to be on the list.
No.
She might not even know that Scarecrow is dead. Actually.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But there's also a nice moment at the end of this where she finds out, like you said, that she's actually been in ice for 2 months, but their crew is like, but we've been trying to break you out like this whole time. And they're
Yeah.
like, we realized that without you, like we have no direction or whatever. And I thought this was like a nice moment and another like good way of like, okay, like, yeah, Harley's not a great guy, but like these other villains actually really respect her. And once they gave her a chance is
Yeah.
the idea.
And it's also a nice contrast to when the Joker left her in Arkham for a year and didn't bother trying. Like, yeah, it took these guys a while, but they were trying. Like, they cared about her.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah. So I really like that moment at the end. All right, level 1 of this video game we're about to play in season 2
Is Riddler you?
Riddler University. Yeah, so there's like these ads on TV and Riddler University, like the city is so messed up.
Yeah, like there's not power, there's not clean water. And so that's the entire reason why they target Riddler University first, because they do have power and running water. And so Harley's like, we're just going to take it from them.
I don't know, were they just planning to like take over the territory, or they were like, how do they have running water? Like, I don't know. It seemed like they just wanted to find out what the hell was going on.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is a little weird. Okay, so this is like I now I like this because again I like cool stupid like high school related content. So but or I guess this is college, but same idea. Harley and Ivy are gonna like dress up as college students and go and like infiltrate Riddler University. And also Clayface is going to like pretend to be a college like female student.
He gets super into character.
Yeah, he gets super into character. He's just as bad like overacting as before, but for some reason Clayface is able to get like a bunch of the students to like really like him. And he
Yes.
gets like a boyfriend and he gets really deep
Well, that's the
into his
thing.
upper
Like, they're hanging out, but are they really like? She's not ready to take it to that next level to make Chad or whoever her boyfriend. Like, Clayface is agonizing over this the entire
Yeah.
entire episode.
Yeah, I love this. Is a great episode.
He's lost the plot on what they're actually there for. He's living that college life.
Yeah, but in order to like dress up as college students, Harley and Ivy are gonna wear makeup, correct? And so like Harley usually has like this bleached skin color, but she's gonna wear makeup so that she has like a
she doesn't stand out so much. She has a more common skin tone, yes.
Yeah. But then Ivy is also going to like change her skin color. And I don't know if they like at some point Harley's makeup gets like exposed and somebody figures out who she is. But I don't think we ever have that with Ivy.
You know what?
It's weird how Ivy like is able to look like she's not a green person this whole time.
It did not register in my brain. Like,
really?
She's not green. Like
she wasn't
you're saying
green.
this now, and I'm like, oh my god, you're right. She wasn't green. Yeah. I missed this entirely.
Yeah. But I guess she was wearing makeup, or Ivy maybe has the power to change her skin color. I don't know what was going on there. I have no idea what was going on with Ivy in this episode.
You've just blown my mind. I can't get over this. I have to rewatch this episode now.
Okay. But they're going to find out that Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara, is also attending Riddler University.
And Commissioner Gordon is staying in her dorm room. It's super awkward.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Commissioner Gordon much in the show. He's essentially like from the very beginning is just going through this like terrible time in his life where his wife does he get divorced or his marriage is just like in a terrible state?
His marriage is in a terrible state, and at some point in either I think the beginning of this, like maybe I think it's in the first episode, like Two-Face takes over the police department and he goes home and he's like, it's fine, this will be the police department, I can still do this. And she's just like, I want a divorce. But like the whole first season, like they're clearly struggling and he just wants a friend. And anytime there's a scene with him and Batman, he's like, I just want to talk about this thing with my wife. And Batman's like, is this an emergency? Like, what about Gotham? Like, we're not friends, we're workmates. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah. Commissioner Gordon's like kind of pathetic for most of this.
Yeah.
But he does have a redeeming thing later, in my opinion, which I really liked. So yeah.
But for now, he's living in his daughter's dorm room.
Yeah. So yeah, Commissioner Gordon's daughter like figures out that it's Harley and Ivy, I believe. And she's like actually like pretty cool with them. Like she knows they're bad guys, but she's like not really worried about them doing anything to her. They have like an understanding with each other.
Mm-hmm. And like she expresses that she's been trying to figure out what's going on in this university because like people have just gone missing. And so the fact that they're there to figure out what's going on, she wants to team up.
Yeah. And Barbara's like a big fan of Batman.
Oh yeah, so many Batman posters.
I'm sure DC people know already, but eventually she's going to become Batgirl in this series.
Yes.
So yeah, they do some snooping around and they figure out that the reason that Riddler has electricity and running water and stuff is because he's like getting some of the students to like run on these giant hamster wheels to like turn the turbines to like make electricity basically.
What's great about this is that like he keeps capturing students and making them run in these wheels. At some point he captures Clayface and has Clayface run in this wheel, and at no point does Clayface break character and decide, oh right, I'm Clay, I could just change my size and slip out of this thing and escape. Clayface is so stuck in this character that he's just running and like, this is my life now, I guess.
Yeah, I actually this wasn't the case, but when I got to this episode, I thought I remembered something where like Clayface was gonna be this like college student in the plan, but then when they get there, they run into like a girl who looks like exactly like Clayface. I thought there was gonna be a whole thing where like they thought this girl that was actually a real person was Clayface or something. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that or where I saw that, but
That would have been interesting.
so I was actually watching this whole episode thinking like, oh, that's not actually Clayface. Which was a really dumb way to watch the episode, but it is actually Clayface the whole time. Yeah. So they get caught by Riddler and they're forced to go on the hamster wheels. But Barbara's gonna come in and save the day.
Yeah.
And she remains cool with Harley and Ivy. She doesn't try to like arrest them or anything or do anything with them.
And then like instead of murdering the Riddler, Harley basically kidnaps him and makes him run in a hamster wheel in her lair so that way they have electricity.
Yeah, so now the mall has electricity again. All right, next level.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. Now this actually, it looks like it's going to be a Mr. Freeze episode, but we actually don't get the Mr. Freeze episode right away.
We get a side mission.
Basically, Mr. Freeze's zone is like a giant snow globe.
It's like a giant wall of ice around the whole thing.
And they're trying to like blow it up, but the ice is just like too strong and they can't get in. And then some like stupid like
some stupid
Mr.
goons help out.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze goons that are like up in like a tower outside of the premises are like, haha, you'll never get in. And then one's like, unless you have Firefly's flamethrower, that would be strong enough. And he's like, you idiot, why would you tell them about that?
He's like, well, they don't know where it is. Well, yeah, why would they know? It's over in the Natural History Museum where Dr. Trap put it.
Yeah. So they basically just accidentally tell Harley exactly how to get into Mr. Freeze's area.
It is really convenient.
So yeah, there's going to be this villain called Trap Man, who I believe is a real villain, right?
Oh, I thought it was Dr. Trap.
Oh, Dr. Trap?
Dr. Trap.
Is it? I'm going to Google it right now. Dr. Trap.
This one sounds really lame. I don't know that.
You're right, it is Dr. Trap, yeah. I'm going to say this guy actually probably was in like Arkham City or one of the video games as like a side quest kind of thing.
But he just likes to trap things. Huzzah.
Well, yeah, he likes to make traps. And basically the idea is like this guy, the Trap Man, like after the city got destroyed, he like quickly like ran around and stole like every important artifact in the city and put them all in this museum.
A lot of it is like villain stuff too, like
like Firefly's flamethrower, which they're gonna need, and I can't think of any other ones.
Some other stuff. It's not really important, but he just likes to build a lot of traps around them.
Yeah, cool objects that people might want either because they're valuable or they do something cool. Yeah, so he has his museum and all the different objects that he has are gonna be have traps built all around them. So they try to go there, and then they realize quickly that like they're in over their heads. Like these traps are too good.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we need to call in for backup. And then Ivy's like, I might know somebody. And who they're gonna bring in is Catwoman. Finally, we finally get Catwoman, and Catwoman's character is funny. She's
too cool. She's just like the most cool person that ever existed, and it breaks Ivy somehow. Like, she doesn't really like her, but she wants her to like her, and she wants to be like her, and she just doubts everything about herself whenever Catwoman starts talking. She like loses her shit around Catwoman.
She's like the stereotypical like cool high school girl that like all the other girls want to be like, even though like they don't actually like her.
She's Regina George.
Exactly. Regina George from Mean Girls is the exact comparison I was thinking of, yeah. So this is also like the first time where we get like Ivy has like a weakness.
Yes, her weakness is Catwoman.
She can't be herself around Catwoman because she just is overwhelmed by the coolness.
Mm-hmm. And Catwoman also like embodies that like solo life, not needing anybody, that like used to be the core of Ivy, but now suddenly, you know, she spends all of her time with Harley and she's dating Kite Man, and she's like, oh, am I giving all that up? And like she full existential crisis through this whole episode just because Catwoman showed up.
Yeah, it's convenient timing for what's going to happen later in this episode that even though Ivy's life is going pretty good right now, since Catwoman is showing up, she's like starting to second guess herself because she just thinks Catwoman's so cool.
And like right before this, like Kite Man had been flying her and Harley around, and they've been like real coupley to the point where Harley's just like, ugh, gross. And so Harley tries to talk to Ivy and be like, you can do better than this guy. But she doesn't hear any of it. Like, she's like, no, shut up. This is fine. but it's not until like Catwoman's around when she's like, oh no, maybe this is wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be with him.
Yeah, Harley is not a fan of Kite Man. But then Kite Man is gonna let Harley in on this plan that he has to like steal this leaf-shaped jewelry that's also being guarded by Trap Dr.
Yes,
Trap.
it's a fancy ring that he thinks would be perfect to propose to Ivy with.
Yeah. And basically he lets Harley know that he's planning to propose. And through whatever shenanigans, they get kind of like split up where Ivy is with Catwoman and Harley's with Kite Man. So Harley actually gets to spend real time with Kite Man and kind of talk to him and gets to like realize how much Kite Man actually does love Ivy. And slowly over the course of this episode, Harley is able to appreciate Kite Man, which I liked a lot.
Yeah, she comes around and kind of somewhat approves of him, and yeah, it's way better.
Yeah.
But in the end, Catwoman kind of screws them over and steals this ring and leaves them to die, but they get out and it's fine. And now Ivy and Kite Man are engaged.
No, they do a weird thing where she says no, but then Harley talks to her and then she like goes back. Isn't that what happened?
He also proposed to her back before she drank the stuff and became a giant to fight those trees. And then she said no.
I thought he said no here too, but then she has to like go back to the apartment later.
She goes to his apartment and then he proposes a third time. And she's like, yes, okay, I'm ready now.
Yeah. And I think Harley did some talking to Ivy to like convince her that like she doesn't need to be like Catwoman. Catwoman isn't all that or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
And then there's a part of the side plot in this. I just have a note that Riddler actually does escape the hamster wheel.
Dr. Psycho is keeping track of him and like doing a shit job of it. He doesn't care.
Yeah, Dr. Psycho is kind of like, I guess like supposed to be he's the guy that like de facto takes over whenever Harley isn't there.
Yeah.
Because I think he's the only other person on the crew that actually has ambition to do evil things.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Ivy, Clayface, and King Shark would never do anything evil if it was just them.
Oh, yeah.
They would just be chilling.
Mm-hmm. But Riddler has like enjoyed being in this hamster wheel so much that he puts himself back in it. And he's like strangely buff now. It's kind of unsettling.
Yeah, so yeah, Gotham is like so terrible that Riddler like realizes he's like, if I stay here, you guys will like feed me and I'll just get super in shape if I just keep running on this wheel. So that's just like it's a setup for later, but basically the Riddler's gonna get like super jacked throughout this season. He's not even in the episodes, but he's just like, he has been running on this hamster wheel this whole time.
The whole time.
Even his upper body strength is gonna get huge for some reason, even though he's just running.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. If you ran so much, you would just be like a really trim guy, but he gets like buff.
He does. Yes. So now we really get to Mr. Freeze. And Harley like uses this flamethrower to melt a vagina tunnel through the ice wall, which is great because her rationale is people are always drawing dicks on stuff. Might as well be a vagina this time. I mean, I can't argue with that.
But this episode is going to have a bit of a theme to it, and it's going to be all about love.
And how Harley doesn't believe in it.
Yeah, Harley is so out on love now. She's like, Joker's dead. He was awful. Love is the worst.
Because they're all talking about who they're going to take to Ivy and Kite Man's wedding. And she's like, I'm going solo.
Yeah. And it's good timing again because Mr. Freeze's whole backstory is about love. So Harley's going to get to see the relationship that Mr. Freeze has with his wife.
His frozen wife.
Yes. And maybe her perspective might get a little changed here.
Should learn a little lesson.
Yeah. They're going to like bust in, but then Mr. Freeze is just going to like easily just like freeze them again easily.
Yeah, just like, oh, hi, you're frozen.
Yeah. And he's like in the process, like his whole backstory is that his wife has this strange blood disease and he's been working on a way to cure her.
And he froze her so she, won't die before he finds a cure. And also he's frozen for reasons that I don't entirely know, but like he also has to keep cold. But whatever.
Yeah. He decides that he's ready to start using like human subjects for testing, and he's like, oh, Harley's the perfect subject because she's also a human woman and not a Clayface or a shark.
Yes.
So he's gonna do this testing on Harley, but then Harley convinces him that Ivy should be able to help him get a cure because she's like a
super smart like biochemist.
A biochemist, yeah. Ivy is actually also a doctor. A lot of these villains are doctors.
But so yeah, she bargains to save her life by saying she'll call Ivy, but like she has no actual plans of calling Ivy.
Yeah, because Ivy's actually busy right now.
Yes. She is off at a wedding venue that Kite Man is obsessed with.
Yeah.
It's some corn factory or something.
Yeah, and we're gonna find out in this episode now. There's no way this is a real character.
It can't be. That's why I didn't think Kite Man was a real character.
But Kite Man's nemesis is Condiment Man. Or is it the Condiment King? Which one
Oh,
is it?
I think Condiment King, yeah.
All right, I'm
yeah.
looking up Condiment King right
It
now.
can't be real. Like, Batman writers, what have you
Oh,
done?
this looks real to me.
No, I don't believe it. Someone on the internet tell us that this isn't true because I don't want it to be true.
DC comic villain who makes use of various condiments, sometimes capable of causing anaphylactic shock. He is generally used as comic relief within the series.
If you ever get to a point in your epic tales where you must make a villain called Condiment King, it's time to end the show. Like, you just stop. No more comics. You've reached the end. Good night. Put it to bed.
Well, I love Condiment King in this show.
He's
He
so
literally,
obnoxious.
he's just like an asshole to Kite Man.
He literally like squirts him with mustard to try and like ruin his chances of, because they're competing for the venue for the same day because he's also engaged. Oh.
But it makes you appreciate Kite Man more because there's this guy called Condiment
Does it?
King.
Or is it like Kite Man spends all of his time hating this guy? Like, what? This is how he spends his time?
It's his nemesis.
I think in the same way that you could tell a lot about a person by the friends they have, you can tell a lot about a person by the nemesis they have. And what I've learned about Kite Man is no, just you're too lame. No, this is not okay.
Well, they're just two dudes that don't have superpowers that have weird themes and they're nemesises. That's great.
Okay, but one of them likes to fly around and one of them shoots mustard at people. What?
Oh, he shoots mustard and other condiments at people and makes super hilarious puns about condiments.
Oh, no, you've made it worse. I do not want this.
Oh, wait, did I write down some of these? Oh, I don't think I did. Dang, I wanted to write down like all the Condiment King puns.
You know, honestly, I think my brain blocked them out because I just couldn't.
There's like a whole thing where he's just literally trying to trigger Kite Man because this whole thing is that Condiment King is also getting married.
And they're competing for the
they're
venue
competing
for the one day that it's available.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, so Condiment King is like just trying to like absolutely trigger Kite Man, and he just like
and it's working.
He spits off. I can't believe you don't remember this. He like spits off like 5 or 6 like just condiment related puns, like as like they're leaving.
Yeah, my brain has a self-defense mechanism where it just like filters out terrible puns sometimes. So I think that's what happened.
What's better, Condiment King or Condiment Man?
Oh, I don't. Condiment Man feels worse. Like, that feels worse to say. I don't know why, but it's bad.
In my notes, I wrote Condiment Man, but then later I think I realized that it was Condiment King. Yeah, this is gold right here. I love Condiment King versus versus Kite Man.
So they make a spin-off. You watching it?
Well, we'll talk about what we think season 3 of this is going to be.
It better not be Kite Man versus Condiment King.
Okay. So Ivy's busy with all this nonsense.
Yeah.
With the rivalry of Kite Man versus Condiment King.
But so Harley's big plan is to hold Mr. Freeze's wife hostage and get him to let them go, pretty much. And she's also decided that his wife is being held captive as well. Like she's been frozen against her will. She's getting a little triggered from her previous time as a frozen woman. So she unfreezes her, and then it's just like, oh, well, she's about to die. Great. Good job, Harley.
Yeah, that makes another big mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, so then she actually has to call Ivy in because like this unfrozen woman is gonna die soon. I don't know why Mr. Freeze can't just freeze her again, but whatever.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, actually. But yada yada, Ivy is gonna find a cure, but the cure requires like a blood transfusion that will kill the person that does the blood transfusion.
Yes, it needs all their blood.
But then Mr. Freeze decides, thankfully, that it should be him that does the blood transfusion. So he does it and he dies, but Harley gets to see this beautiful moment of love and what you're going to do when you love somebody.
She grows a little bit.
And there's a line that I liked here because the whole crew is like watching this, like Mr. Freeze sacrifice himself. Dr. Psycho is like, I'm feeling feelings.
Oh, I can relate to that sometimes when it feels that way.
I love saying oh, I watched that and I was feeling feelings, like as a way of just like bypassing getting into like the exact emotions that I was feeling, but wanting to just like acknowledge that I did have feelings. So Harley, at the end of this episode, Harley thinks love is possible again. She's back in.
Yep.
And then next episode, this is when we get the nerd on the couch.
Yes, complaining about like woke culture and like feminism and fighting the patriarchy and how it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm guessing there was a lot of like hate comments online about this show like after season 1, so they like specifically chose to just like make this cold open for one of the episodes to just like absolutely like shit on all this like critics essentially.
And because like one of the nerd complaints is just like, how are you gonna make a Batman show that doesn't really have Batman in it? And the
Yeah.
other guy's like, but you watched all of Gotham, and he's like, that's different. So they read the description for this episode, and it's like, in this episode, Harley and her best friend Ivy are not in it. It's all about Batman.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. It's all about Batman.
Yeah. The line that I wrote down that this guy said, this nerd said, he's like, this is just another heavy-handed female empowerment story where the true villain is the patriarchy. So basic. That's like probably literally a critique that somebody like wrote somewhere online.
They copied and pasted a comment from the internet. Yes, yes. But basically, Batman's been in a coma, and he wants to get back to Batmaning because Gotham City is garbage. But Alfred won't let him because his body is garbage right now, and he can't Batman.
Yeah, I don't know how deep into this episode you want to go, but
that was pretty much
that's what you want to do.
I got one more thing after that.
It's not important to the story other than now that Mr. Freeze is dead, only Two-Face and Bane remain in the Injustice League.
Yeah.
And they like decide to team up because there's like rumors that Batman is back, but it's partially because Barbara Gordon is
running around as Batgirl, yeah.
Yeah. And Batman is a little like, I wouldn't say Batman is like upset that like a woman is portraying her. He's just upset in general that somebody is like using his symbol.
I think specifically his beef is also like, it's this young girl who's gonna get herself killed out here, and that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I think Batman had a legitimate worry here. It wasn't like
he's not being a jerk about it, but he is also not being aware of his limitations at the moment.
Yeah. So he gets his tech guy. I didn't write the tech guy. Name down, I forget his name.
Yeah, that guy from the movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he built him like this super heavy duty suit, almost like an Iron Man kind of suit, so that even though he's not fully recovered from his injuries, he can like still be Batman. But he gets into a fight with Bane, and Bane just like absolutely like cripples him. Like his legs get destroyed.
There is a part though where he has a dumb teeny missile where his dick is that like pops out and shoots, and I'm just like, this is okay, Batman.
Well, it was a joke because
Commissioner
Gordon
had asked for one earlier.
Yeah, he went to Bruce Wayne because he doesn't know Bruce Wayne is Batman in this, and asked him to like fund him like reestablishing the police in Gotham, and then he also asked for like a missile that shot out of his crotch for some reason.
And Batman was like, "That's dumb," and then later
did it anyway.
Missile. Like, yeah. So
Batman, even though he's able to fight, he's gonna get like really messed up by Bane to the point that Batgirl and
Alfred
has also been, it turns out, doing a little hero work himself, but he's dressed up as the Macaroni is his character name.
He's like an old-timey fancy Englishman with a huge powdered wig that like has hands and missiles that come out of it. It's over the top and ridiculous.
This episode was like a little just like out of left field for the show, but I actually thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But we're done with that episode.
Yes.
All right, this next episode, this is the episode that I think.
This is the one you don't like?
Yeah, this is the one I actually don't like.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I like hate it, but it's the worst episode in the series so far.
Really?
I think.
Interesting. I liked it. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but I enjoyed it.
There weren't a lot of jokes in it. It's a little too.
That's true.
It's all serious, like backstory drama stuff with like a little bit with Ivy and Harley in the beginning and the end. But I wanted to get back to the to the main story. I feel like I didn't need this backstory to understand the characters, but I guess it was a little interesting. So basically, Ivy and Harley are going to be in a bar,
and the bartender is the Joker, but like normalized, like he's a normal person.
Yeah, he's just like a normal, nice guy now. And then it triggers this like Harley and Ivy to start talking. I don't know. For some reason, they get into talking about their backstory. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why they do this, but
Ivy was like, people don't ever change. So like, because I think Harley, like, I don't know, she felt weird about him being the normal Joker, and she's like, maybe he's better now. I don't know. And she's just like, no, people never change. It's still the Joker. And so this flashback is back to when she first met Ivy and the Joker when she was a psychiatrist in Arkham. And the whole point of the story is she's like, you changed, you didn't want to have any friends. And then I came around and fixed you or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't write down a lot of notes from this, but how much do you want to get into this episode?
I mean, I'm kind of satisfied with that. It's, dramatic times in Arkham. And before she became Harley Quinn, it's fine, but it doesn't really like matter to the overarching summary of things.
In terms of plot for this episode, it basically just establishes that Joker is like a normal guy now. He has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend has like 2 kids, and they like live together in a house.
Yeah, like they bring Dr. Psycho in to read his mind to make sure he's not lying, and he doesn't remember anything about being the Joker.
And so yeah, basically Joker has lost his memory for now.
Not ominous at all.
Yeah. And then at the very end of this episode, Harley and Ivy are actually going to get arrested by Two-Face.
Two-Face, yes.
Two-Face has decided to like take over the police department, I guess. And then the theme into the next episode is like, it's still like the Harley theme, but it's like cross-spliced with like the Law and Order theme song.
Yeah.
Because we're going to open up and like Harley and Ivy are going to be on trial for the murder of the Penguin and like the other members of the Injustice League that they killed.
And Bane is the judge.
Bane is the judge, yeah, another classic
and their
Bane
attorney is Man Bat. Like, it's just a giant bat that like cannot speak English. Like, yeah.
And then Two-Face is gonna be the prosecutor.
Yeah, so it doesn't go well for them. They get sentenced to life in prison.
It's just a silly like scene because like they just confess that they did it because like everybody knows they did it.
Yeah.
And then they get sentenced to prison, which is going to be the pit.
Yeah, the big hole in the ground that from that Batman movie that Bane was in. Yeah.
Yeah, is it the same one? I was wondering.
I think so.
I guess it is.
Or at least it's supposed to be just like it.
Yeah. But when they get sent to this pit, it's just a giant hole in the desert, like massive hole in the desert.
And Bane is the warden of the prison as well. He's like actually trying to reform the prisoners.
Yeah.
So they have all these like arts and crafts and like meditation classes and stuff.
Bane is actually doing a really good job running his prison.
Yeah.
It's actually really impressive. But then we cut away from that, and Barbara is gonna reveal her identity to her dad.
Because he's an alcoholic, I think, is really the driving force here. She's like, get your shit together.
And Gordon's reaction to this immediately is very supportive, which made me happy to see.
Yeah.
They finally did Commissioner Gordon a solid here, the writers, I feel like.
Yes.
Like he's just kind of like a worthless person, essentially. They at least made him feel like a good parent.
And he gets to be a good cop again. By the end of this, like he takes back the police station and arrests Two-Face. Like,
yeah,
he accomplishes something.
His daughter inspires him to clean up his act, stop drinking, and get his shit together.
And he does it pretty well.
He's going to get his power back a little bit in the police department and start turning Gotham around in the right direction a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But so Harley and Ivy are trying to escape this pit, and they come up with a big elaborate plan to escape on George Lopez's helicopter because he comes to do a comedy session at their
Yeah.
talent show or whatever, because sure, why not?
Yeah, this is the type of shenanigans in this show we'll get into.
But so their main plan doesn't work, but basically they sort of cause a riot, and then the rioters build a big pile of garbage that they can sort of use to climb up out of the pit a bit. But for the last bit of it, Ivy has to she manages to find some plant life and get a bit of a vine to pull them out. And so she's on the vine, and then Harley's holding on to her, but then Bane is holding on to Harley. And so there's a moment where Harley realizes that, she's got to let go, so that way Ivy can go and be free, and she'll just be in the pit and it'll be fine. And so, like, actual growth and selflessness. It's great.
Yes. So she lets go, and she's like falling with Bane into it's like a giant like pile of fire is at the bottom now because like everybody's been rioting. So they're gonna fall in this thing of fire. It's almost like bungee jumping where like Ivy gets like pulled up to the top with her vine or whatever. But then as soon as she gets to the top, she instantly bungee jumps back down. I don't know if physics makes sense here because she's able to catch up to Harley again. And she basically bungees down, grabs Harley, and is able to pull her out of the pit.
And they both escape. And then they kiss. It's so good.
Yeah. This was like hella spicy and made me feel feelings, Sarah.
Oh.
For sure.
You're not going to elaborate on that now because this is your new line, huh? Made you feel feelings.
In this part, it was just like, oh shit, like love triangle, let's go. I was just excited.
Did you see this coming?
I was trying to remember that. I don't know. Probably not, right?
I think I did, but also I guess I'm kind of always hoping ladies are going to kiss.
It makes more sense with like, okay, why does Ivy like Harley in the beginning? Like, I don't think Harley's particularly likable, and Ivy seems like a reasonable person, so I don't really understand why Ivy likes her. But if there's some level of like attraction outside of just like being good friends with each other, then it would like it does justify it a little bit. Did you not feel feelings when this happened?
Oh yeah, I felt feelings. It was great.
Okay. Points of note though in this episode, I think Gordon actually goes on to capture Two-Face like single-handedly.
He takes back the police station. Yep.
And I guess Bane dies as well in this because he fell into the flames.
He's in the promotional materials for season 3, so I don't think he's dead.
Oh, okay. The idea after this episode is like, okay, this big moment happened where they kissed, but also the kind of story arc of them like trying to eliminate all the Injustice League members is kind of over now because Two-Face and Bane were the last ones, and they kind of get taken out in a way in this episode as well. So the kiss is going to take us into a whole new storyline for the show, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, this is when the show gets really good, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
really
definitely.
Good.
The back half of the second season is just like, ooh, so good.
I really liked the video game style kind of separation of all the villains in the city that they set up in season 2. So that I really liked. And then they go into this. And so we're going to have a bit of a love triangle thing with Harley and Ivy and Kite Man.
Yes.
And you got to feel something for Kite Man in this whole situation, right? Or you just have no respect for Kite Man.
Yeah.
Really?
Disdain? I think disdain is what I
What? Kite Man's fine.
Okay, it's not that bad. Kite Man is fine, but like
he's a good guy.
He's dumb.
I think you're being harsh.
Kite Man's dumb.
He's not. I mean, he's not that dumb. He just talks like he talks in a way that you don't like.
Well, not just that, but like his arch nemesis is Condiment King. Like, what is happening?
Dude, you're burying this guy. He's fine. Him and Ivy, I thought they were good together.
I mean, I guess. Sure. But he's standing in the way of a much better relationship. I'd much rather have her with Harley.
I don't know. I think like Harley and Ivy, like Ivy is going to have more love for Harley, but whether or not it's a better relationship, I think is still we'll see kind of thing. Kite Man doesn't put Ivy into like these terrible situations over and over again.
Yes, but he also like marrying him results in a life that is not what she wants.
I don't blame her for doing what she wants. I'm just saying, why are you burying Kite Man in this situation where all he does is love Ivy?
I feel like he should know her better to know, like, he should realize that, like, I don't know, something is happening.
You're
I
ruthless.
just feel like he doesn't have a lot of self-awareness. Yes, I am very mean when it comes to Kite Man.
Jesus.
Maybe if he had a better nemesis, I'd be nicer to him.
What
I
does
don't
that
know.
matter?
I don't know, but that's Condiment King is the worst character to ever
It has
exist,
nothing to
and
do
it's
with
Kite
Kite
Man's
Man.
fault. It's totally his fault.
Okay, let's move on.
So, with the Injustice League taken care of, the president tells Gordon that Gotham can be part of the US again as long as he takes out Harley.
I guess she's reached this point of infamousy that she's like as big a deal as like these other villains now. Even
Mm-hmm.
though like Harley hasn't done anything that bad in a
Yeah, if
while.
anything, she's just helped Gotham by taking out these villains.
Yeah, it doesn't actually make any sense at all. But according to the president, Harley is the last big villain left in Gotham. And this is when it gets good though. Harley and Ivy are like a little bit awkward about the kiss that they had with each other.
Naturally, yes,
And they
yes.
talk about it and they're like they both agree, oh no big deal, whatever. But you can tell Harley,
Is burying her feelings
yeah, she's
deep
definitely
here.
bearing her feelings. She went from thinking love is stupid to being in love very quickly.
Yeah.
And I would say she's a little bit in denial. Like she isn't full aware of her feelings yet either.
Mm-hmm. But I think, like, going into this conversation talking about the kiss, like, I think she wanted it to go a different way. Like, she didn't want her to say, like, oh yeah, it's no big deal, we should just ignore it and move on. Like, she's disappointed in that result.
It's super emotionally complicated because she doesn't want to get in the way of Ivy and Kite Man and their happiness together. Because as far as she knows, Ivy is still happy with Kite Man.
Yeah.
And I think even to the audience, in my opinion, maybe not you, but they seem happy together. Eventually, we'll get more uncertainty from Ivy, but right now, I don't see an issue with Ivy and Kite Man as a couple.
Yeah, what we've been presented with so far, other than his terrible choice of nemesis, like, everything's fine between them.
Jesus.
She tries to, like, bury herself in work and, like, just keep busy so she doesn't have to think about things, basically.
And also, Ivy, she's struggling with whether or not she's going to tell Kite Man that she kissed
Yes.
Harley. Yeah, and then, like you said, Harley's going to try to like distract herself with doing bad guy stuff to be
Yeah,
like,
because
I'm
Batgirl
crazy.
comes to warn her. Oh yeah, she's like, I'm crazy. I just kiss random people, whatever. Yeah. She kisses literally everyone in the crew, I think, over the course of this episode.
Just to like convince herself that it was just a like nothing meaningless spontaneity.
Yeah. But yeah, Batgirl comes over, warns her that her dad's coming with to take care of her. So she keeps herself busy and goes to another dimension to
Yeah.
get a army of parademons, like you do during any difficult relationship.
Yeah, she wasn't doing anything actually that evil, but now that she's like the last villain left in Gotham and she's going through this stuff, she's gonna do like the most evil shit. She's gonna get wrapped up in like as evil shit as you can possibly be doing.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of this is Dr. Psycho being like, oh, I know where you can get an army. Let's go here. Like, he's pushing
Yeah,
an evil agenda.
yeah. They're gonna go to the apocalypse dimension, I think is what it's called, something like that.
Yes.
And that's where Darkseid, which is this like celestial god of some sort. I actually am not familiar with Darkseid very much.
Yeah, it's deep in the DC nonsense.
But he has like so much power that he can just like take over a planet probably whenever he wants. I think is the idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, like, she has to beat the current person who has the staff of parademons or whatever. And it's like a really buff grandma, which is fun. But she gets knocked out, and then like Dr. Psycho just puppets her to beat this woman, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, she gets her army of parademons and leaves to go fight Commissioner Gordon and his army of normal people, because Batgirl went back to him and warned him she was trying to tell him to not go after Harley because Harley has an army, but he took that to be like, oh, now I also need an army.
Yeah. The Ivy part of this episode, which I liked, is just Ivy is gonna go meet Kite Man's parents.
Yes, and it turns out that they actually have powers, and they're super disappointed in their lame son.
Yeah, so I like this. Again, we get like a little look into Kite Man's backstory a little bit, and it's like his parents are just like rich, snobby assholes, essentially,
Yeah.
who, yeah, like you said, they actually have superpowers, and they just like kind of are ashamed of their son, Kite Man, because he doesn't actually have powers.
And they're super pumped about the idea that now they can have grandkids that have superpowers because Ivy has superpowers.
Yeah, and they like explain that to Ivy basically, like, oh, they are so excited that she has powers.
Yeah, they're like, hello, thank you for coming to be the baby factory for us. And it's like, Ivy's super uncomfortable.
And then Ivy does the right thing here, or the cool thing here, which I would say is an indicator that she actually loves Kite Man. You know, this is a good relationship. She like comes to Kite Man's defense and basically like totally throws Kite Man's parents under the bus.
They blame him for not getting a reservation at the restaurant, and really it was her fault. Like, she didn't do it. And she's like, that was me. He reminded me a bunch of times, and I just didn't do it. Like, he's a super compassionate partner, and he's supportive, and you're a bunch of shitheads, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I really like that. I like that they're building this relationship between Ivy and Kite Man as a serious relationship, in my opinion.
Does that make the whole love triangle better for you?
Exactly,
If
yeah.
it's a good relationship to tear apart?
I mean, the show is called Harley Quinn, so we can guess where this is going. But
Yeah.
like, I think is like a legitimate case the way these two relationships are presented, where as of right now, I think Kite Man is the better choice. Now, it's not like the most interesting choice for the sake of the show, but if I'm just looking at who these people are and who's a better like life partner, Kite Man is better in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, it's also like not what Ivy wants. Like when he does his vows at the end of this and talks about what their life is going to be like together, she's just like, oh, okay, that sounds fine, I guess. Like, it's not her jam at all.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with Ivy following her heart at the end of this. But let's not shit on Kite Man like he wasn't a good option. That's what I'm saying here.
Guess I just don't like Kite Man. I'm sorry, I don't.
Jesus. Oh my god. Yeah, so yeah, she's like starts using the parademons to like fight against Gotham and Gordon and all this stuff.
Yeah, she's basically winning, but Ivy comes in and talks her out of like destroying everything, which actually, when she backs down, it causes Dr. Psycho to leave the crew. He's just like, we're doing some proper evil shit. What's wrong with you? And he leaves.
Yeah. Harley like breaks the scepter that she's using to control the parademons. So the parademons like stop attacking, but they don't like go back to the apocalypse dimension. They like
Yeah, now they
stay.
just live here
They
and
just
do
live here
whatever the
now.
fuck they want, which is kind of problematic.
Yeah. And I think at the end of this, I think the way she's convinced is Ivy's like, Harley, like this isn't really what you want. And then Harley has this like moment where she's looking at Ivy and she realizes like she comes to the realization that her feelings for Ivy are actually very real.
Mm-hmm. Ivy's what she wants.
And that inspires her to like break the scepter and be like, yeah, I don't actually care about any of this stuff. I just want like she just wants to be with Ivy. And I think she's about to tell Ivy at the end
Yeah,
of this.
she's about to confess her feelings, and then fucking Kite Man shows up.
I love shows that just drag out this this like admitting your love to people. I just love that like tease feeling of like, oh, they're about to admit it, and then it's like, oh, but if they do admit it, then it like I don't want that tension to be released, you know.
Okay.
I love it. She doesn't. She gets interrupted by Kite Man, and he shows up there as well. So then she feels bad about talking about it and doesn't mention it. And like you said, Psycho leaves the crew. He's had enough. He actually wants to do evil shit and take over the Earth essentially. So he's gonna run solo. And then here we go. This is they just cranking out good content.
Episode.
They're just cranking out good content at this point.
This next episode might be my favorite one, I think. It's great. So Harley decides that, well, she's not gonna tell Ivy, so she's gonna really throw herself into being the super supportive maid of honor for this fucking wedding.
So they're gonna have a bachelorette party weekend.
Yeah.
On the Wonder Woman island, Themyscira. They're like flying on Wonder Woman's invisible plane to get to the island.
So many birds. just crash into this plane.
Yeah, they make a bunch of invisible plane jokes, and then I think they actually drive like an invisible car to the resort,
Yes.
which is I think I don't know if the invisible car is a thing, but they just like made it a thing.
But so for Ivy, who has no friends, here are the people who are at her bachelorette party. We've got Harley, obviously. We have Mrs. Freeze, who, if you recall recently, they were responsible for killing her husband. Ivy's childhood bestie, Jennifer, who's real uptight, and then Catwoman,
Yeah, Jennifer's just like a normal,
a normal human. Yeah.
might just be like a mom or something. Yeah.
Yes. It's the weirdest group of people you could get together for a trip.
Yeah, so like Harley's gonna act like really over the top excited about everything and trying to get everybody hyped up and like making sure everybody's having a good time.
Catwoman figures out immediately what's going on. She's just like, "Oh, you hooked up."
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk about it, but I know, and I need you to know that I know.
Yeah. Yeah, Catwoman has like this sixth sense, I guess, about these things. I don't know. But then also in this episode, Kite Man's having his bachelor party.
And I guess it's just bros hanging out on a boat, I think
Yeah.
is the plan.
The bachelor party is King Shark, Clayface, and Frank the Plant. Those are the three people at Kite Man's bachelor party.
That's a solid party.
That is a pretty good group of guys.
Yeah. They are just doing a puzzle though.
They're doing a puzzle on like a little boat out in the ocean, and I guess they're
Mhm.
supposed to be fishing or something. Yeah. But then this whole side story with the Kite Man's bachelor party just becomes this like backstory for King Shark and how like he's supposed to marry some female shark.
Like a
It's
hammerhead
ridiculous.
shark to like
It's-
unite the clans of sharks.
Yeah, it's
And there's
ridiculous.
a lobster that comes to like take him away, and it's very like Little Mermaid. Like this is clearly Sebastian, and he sings him a song to prove why he should come back to living in the sea. And his big selling point is that you can poop anywhere.
Yeah.
The world is your toilet when you're under the sea.
It's like an exact Little Mermaid like spoof song of Under the Sea, but it's just
Yep.
about how you can poop everywhere in the ocean and it's no big deal.
Yep.
So yeah,
King Shark remains unconvinced.
a very silly side story that I don't think we need to talk about anymore. But yeah,
I mean, King Shark does get married by the end of this, so
I guess
that's something.
it's not important, but
It's not, but it's great. I love it.
yeah. All right, back to the bachelorette party though. Harley's gonna make all the food vegan at this party, which I appreciated because it's Ivy.
And she does kind of bully all the women into pretending at least that they're having a good time. She goes a little over the top, yelling at them at some point.
Yeah, I wanted to say though, it's like, is Ivy being vegan actually makes sense? It's like a little weird. It's almost like she should be like the other way around, where like, because she complains throughout the episode, like at one point, like Kite Man gets her flowers, and she first sees the flowers and is like, "Oh, you thought like cutting a bunch of flowers and giving to me would be something I would like?"
It's like giving me a bunch of baby heads or something, right? Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, they're still in a pot," or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. There are some redeemable features of Kite Man, I guess.
Ever since the first half of the first episode that Kite Man's in, Kite Man is great the rest. For some
He
reason you
made a
don't like
real
him.
bad first impression.
He did, but he's a quick learner, Kite Man. I don't think he's as dumb as you're saying he is.
I don't know that it makes sense. Like, what would Poison Ivy eat?
Well, I think it would make sense for her to like eat animals.
But she's very much about the environment, and that's not
Yeah.
good for the environment.
It would make sense if she like ate people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, people's probably the way to go.
Yeah. She can't eat like animals produced in animal agriculture because that's like not good for the environment. So I guess she can't do that.
She should just have the power to like photosynthesize, then she's fine.
Yeah.
Just be more plant.
I like that she's just vegan and she's like reasonable about like, oh, some plants are meant to be eaten. But it doesn't perfectly line up with how she likes to be a little bit like snarky with people who try to like be nice to her by giving her a plant, but they like cut a piece of it off or something.
Yeah, like anytime she uses her power to make them grow and fight things, like she's putting plants in danger, right? Like that wouldn't be great either.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. She just has a couple lines throughout the series that make you think like, oh, she doesn't want any plants to die, but I don't think that's actually the case. She just is. She likes to be confrontational with people because she doesn't like people. Yeah. But eventually this party's gonna make its bachelor party's gonna make its way to the strip club.
Yeah, because this is an island of only women because of Amazonians, but there is a nearby little island where they keep the man strippers, and that's where they go.
Is this Zeus on this island?
Yes,
It is
yes,
Zeus? Okay,
yes.
I was like I don't think they would want to be anywhere near Zeus, but I guess they were just cool with it.
I mean, Mrs. Freeze was very much cool with
Yeah,
it.
because we didn't get into it, but like earlier in the show, like Zeus is like a villain in one of the episodes, and he's like supposed to be.
He's like a motivational speaker about like be your best villain, and Harley goes to him for advice when she's trying to get like henchmen, and he's like, "Oh, you're backstage in my dressing room after a show. Let me flip the sex light switch and go into you like clearly we're gonna hook up now," and like is gross at her.
Yeah, way worse than Kite Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, while they're at the strip club, Harley and Ivy are gonna get drunk, and then the very next moment they wake up in the same bed together because they've slept together.
Yes.
And Ivy is not happy.
Oh no. She has a big reaction to, oh no, this can't have happened. Like, we can't talk about it. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave right now. I'm gonna fly home. But she can't because the invisible jet is somewhere else.
And even at this point, like I feel like Ivy hasn't really showed to the audience that she's having much of a conflict with what she wants to do. Like she's ending up in these situations with Harley
Mm-hmm.
multiple times now, but we're not getting I didn't get the sense that like, oh, she is like on the fence about breaking it off with Kite Man, you know.
Yeah, but she also, I don't know, keeps allowing these situations to happen.
Yeah, it's unclear like they remember everything that happened, so I guess they weren't like that drunk.
Mm-hmm.
What Ivy is thinking like throughout this part of the show, it's like a little confusing to me, but I think I just don't do a good job of illustrating it.
Well, she is like anybody she'd confide in would be Harley. And like she's got to stick to her rule of like, no, never again. Like she can't like actually talk about if she's really conflicted or not.
Yeah, she doesn't have anybody to talk to about it, but like we don't even get like a little like an alone moment with her where we get like a facial expression that would indicate to the audience that she is. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Harley is gonna cheer her up because she's planned this mission to do as part of the bachelor party to go kill some people that are being bad to the environment. Basically,
this entire spa they've been enjoying, like one of the Amazons has like bewitched the queen or whatever and is planning on selling the whole thing off to Lex Luthor and therefore destroying the environment of this beautiful island. So Ivy gets to do some eco-terrorism and she's like super jacked about it. She's very excited.
Yeah, and they succeed, and they're gonna have a big party to celebrate.
Yeah, in true Amazonian fashion, they celebrate with a fucking rager. Yeah, it's great. And then they hook up again.
And then they get drunk and hook up again.
Yes.
And then I think here finally Ivy is showing a little bit that she does like Harley more than just like a hookup.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. And they're talking about what to do. And then Harley actually says, I love you at the end of this episode, which Ivy does not reciprocate.
Yeah, she tells Harley that she doesn't trust her.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah.
And she's going to still marry Kite Man at the end of this episode. And Harley, I wrote in my notes, is big sad.
Oh, yeah. This made me feel some feelings.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I guess I'm just like not necessarily identifying with Harley throughout this show. So
yeah, you're identifying with freaking Kite Man.
Well, Kite Man and Ivy more specifically. I
Yeah.
would say I'd identify more, and then I'll identify with Kite Man second before Harley. Yeah. But yeah, big sad for Harley at the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm. And so in the next episode, what do you do when you're trying to get over being in love with your best friend? You go out on the town and try to hook up with somebody, which is Harley's big plan.
So she goes to like Wayne Tower, like a really fancy bar in Wayne Tower, I believe.
Like it's apparently the only tower left, or the only bar left in Gotham that isn't like being actively destroyed by parademons all the time.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
But the bartender there is the Joker.
Burr, burr, burr.
Still good guy Joker.
Yep.
And then some like robbers are gonna like bust into the bar and
create a hostage situation.
Yeah, and they're gonna like chain Harley to Joker.
Like
coincidentally.
their hands are they're laying on the ground, hands handcuffed together, just face to face, and she is miserable.
Yeah, so Harley is like forced to talk to the Joker who doesn't remember who she is, but he's kind of saying stuff like, I think I know you from somewhere and stuff like that. So we're getting these hints that the Joker is like having these memories kind of come back to him.
Yeah, he says he's had some weird dreams since he met her last time, and they're not dreams, they're like memories of stuff that happened before. And every now and then he'll start to laugh about something, and it'll kick sort of into the Joker laugh, and she like tries to quick distract him so he doesn't go full Joker.
The first dream he describes is like literally the opening scene of the show.
Yes.
Like we were on a yacht and then Batman showed up and then whatever. So they're chained together, handcuffed together, but then they are able to escape in like the air vents.
So she's like got to drag him along the whole time while she's trying to escape because she can't get off the handcuffs. So it's that fun dynamic of normal dude who can't do anything, and then Harley who's like trying to do gymnastics and beat the shit out of people.
Yeah. And the whole kind of like progression in terms of like Harley's character for this episode is like the Joker starts asking like personal questions of Harley basically, and Harley
Mm-hmm.
actually like starts talking about Ivy with the Joker. And then
Yes.
the Joker starts talking about his amazing girlfriend who he loves and all this
And
stuff.
his kids, who are really her kids, but they feel like his kids.
Yeah. Basically, the Joker throughout this whole conversation is going to like inspire Harley to like not give up on Ivy and like
Yeah.
still go for it, even though going into this, Harley's perspective was like, oh, Ivy is with Kite Man and she wants to be with Kite Man. So she was like kind of giving up on the situation. And then we really, by the end of this, like, it's really like the Joker is starting to really show that he has like a multi personality and he's like, his laughs are getting like longer and more Joker like.
Yeah. Yeah. He's coming back to the Joker more and more.
And then some big battle scenes are going to start coming up because the Psycho and the Riddler have started to work together. Psycho released the
Yes.
Riddler, and the Riddler's like super jacked. And they do this funny thing that like now that he's super jacked, he's like dumber.
Yes.
Like,
His riddles aren't very good,
yeah,
and he's just like, I don't know.
kind of weird, but okay. And the Psycho just basically like he gets this like mind device. They don't really explain it, but he gets this like mind device that like enhances his powers.
He can control the parademons and have his own army.
Now it's weird because Psycho has the ability to like control anybody as long as they're not too smart, I guess is the idea.
I guess.
But I guess the parademons are like so dumb that he's allowed to control like a lot of them at
They might be
once.
some sort of hive mind situation, or like they're used to being like controlled by a single thing anyway, so maybe he's able to tap into whatever that is.
Yeah, because not only does he control the parademons, but he actually is going to like hijack Clayface and King Shark and control them too.
Yes.
So there's this big fight scene on top of Wayne Tower with Harley and good guy Joker and Riddler and Psycho and all the people that he's mind controlling are fighting against them.
Commissioner Gordon's there too.
Commissioner Gordon is also there, yeah.
Because he was flying the bat plane around trying to capture parademons because Batman still can't Batman.
But I think by the end of this, they just like escape. Gordon and good guy Joker and Harley escape in like one of the bat
Yeah.
vehicle
But first,
or something.
Cyborg Man had to sacrifice himself. So that also happened. But so by the end of this, Harley decides that they need the Justice League back to defeat Dr. Psycho and all the parademons. So, like, the last place the storybook was seen was when Joker was teamed up with Queen of Fables. So she realizes she needs him to have his memories back and needs to turn him into the proper Joker again to find it. So she throws him in some acid.
But there's also this whole idea that like the Joker has inspired her to not give up on Ivy, but also she's like kind of seeing like the kind of like the great life you can have being a good guy essentially because
Mm,
now that she's seeing Joker. And I think what she decides to do to win Ivy back is like she's going to start cleaning up all the messes that she's been making throughout the series.
yeah.
And one of those messes that she did was
Bring all these parademons over.
the parademons, but also like the stuff she did with Queen of Fables, which allowed the Justice League to get trapped in the
Mm,
book. And so she's
yep.
going to take responsibility for the Justice League not existing anymore, and like she's gonna go try to release them, is the idea.
Yep.
So Harley is going to put Joker back in the chemicals and bring him back to his normal self in order for him to get the memories of where the book is. So Joker is back at the end of this.
Yeah.
Evil Joker is back. Okay. Dr. Psycho is taking over Gotham with the parademon horde.
Mm-hmm.
We get like a flashback here of like, because when the Joker turns back evil, he's still able to remember all the stuff that he did while he was good Joker.
And he's a little embarrassed about his suburban life that he was leading for a while.
We get like a flashback of everything he went through as good Joker. But after Ivy slept with Harley the second time, and she's starting to have feelings as well for Harley, the way that she chooses to deal with it is like she starts going full throttle into the wedding, and she just wants to get married like as fast as possible.
Yeah, so they're like planning out what the venue's gonna look like or whatever, and they're outside, and these parademons are swooping in and like stealing their wedding planner and like destroying everything. And Kite Man wants to like delay things, and she's like, "No, it's happening."
Yeah, it's kind of like a dumb trope where like Ivy getting married to Kite Man won't change anything about the love triangle, but like there's this idea that like, oh, marriage is like so binding that
yeah, then the decision will be made, and it'll be too late.
yeah, it's kind of dumb. But again, her like I think still her like biggest fear, like we learned earlier, is Harley, but she's also in love with Harley, so she's like trying to run away by getting this marriage done.
And if nothing else, Kite Man's pretty reliable, which is the opposite of what she's scared of. So Harley convinces the Joker to go get the book by saying she put a bomb in his head, which I don't know why anyone believes that, but she basically forces him to go talk to that suburban mom who was his girlfriend, and there's a big fight there because she's just like, "What do you mean I was dating the Joker?" Which, would be a traumatic thing to find out. But yeah, she throws the book at them, and then the book gets lost, and they have to go find the book again. But hey, in the end, it's not actually the book, and they have to go back to his girlfriend again. And by this point, like, while they're going through, Joker's like remembering the nice things about his suburban life, and like maybe he really is in love with this woman, and he can't just throw it away. And it's more of a, some of it's rubbing it in Harley's face, like just like, if you were ever in love, you'd know what it was like, or
yeah,
but some of it is also like getting through to her too, like, yeah, you can't let go of this shit, like, yeah, I'm gonna go talk to her later.
yeah, the Joker is actually going to get back together with his
Yep.
the girlfriend. He says like, oh, he still plans to be the Joker, but only outside of his relationship or something.
Yeah, during work hours, I guess.
I think that's the status of the Joker when we leave. This is the last Joker update we're gonna get, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
He's just gonna be with this normal woman. Okay, so we'll see where that ends up in season 3. But also, Psycho is gonna like make a deal with Darkseid to kill Harley because Darkseid is mad at Harley for not following through on
taking over the Earth.
Yeah. So he says like, "Oh, if you kill Harley for me, then I'll give you the power to take over Earth." So Psycho is like, he's trying to take over the planet.
And he manages to get to Ivy and mind control her, and he sends her to kill Harley. And also the Justice League is saved. They get out of that book.
Also, Batman is back in this episode. He's fully recovered.
Yes, he's finally able to Batman again.
Yeah. Psycho mind controls Ivy, and so basically he's going to force Harley to fight against Ivy, which is a whole emotional situation. I have heard that Harley was about to admit her love to Ivy again. Did this happen in this episode? Oh, before she realized that she was mind controlled, she was about to do it again. And I was like, oh, such a tease. I love this. Again, I like this. Oh, so good. Yeah, so there's going to be like a whole big battle scene in the next episode.
Yeah, a lot of Justice League like almost killing Ivy because she's standing in their way while they're on their way to Dr. Psycho. I think Kite Man rescues Harley at some point, and they're like sort of a little team up of like, yeah, we gotta save Ivy. So that's nice.
This was like the most action involved episode. But yeah, yada yada, it's gonna lead to like them going back to the mall and Ivy still being mind controlled, but Harley and Dr. Psycho are like all in the same room now, and also Darkseid has showed up, and he's telling like Psycho, oh, time's up, but then Psycho's like, wait, they're here, like they're about to fight each other. Isn't this so evil? So Darkseid like sticks around to watch the fight between Harley and Ivy.
But Kite Man also showed up with the anti-mind control devices to try to like save the situation.
Yeah, there's a little like they need to come up with a way why Dr. Psycho like can't mind control Kite Man and Harley and everybody else. So they like they do this weird thing where they come up with a device to block it. But Kite Man Kite Man gets to the scene and he has a great idea. He's smart. He's smart, this one.
Oh yeah.
This is actually a good idea. Don't slam this guy. He was like, you know what always works? True love. And so he like grabs Ivy as she's like still being mind controlled and he kisses her. But
And she punches him in the face.
yeah, it doesn't work. He gets punched in the face and he's out now for the fight. He's knocked out. And then Harley and Ivy are gonna have a serious showdown between each other. And then at some point in the fight, Ivy's like, you know what? That Kite Man guy had a good idea.
Yeah, Harley kisses her.
And Ivy comes out of the trance and is no longer being controlled.
Yep.
True love wins, Sarah.
Yeah. Not Kite Man.
Yeah, but it was Kite Man's idea. So don't tell me it's a bad idea. Okay. They literally would not have saved Ivy here if it weren't for Kite Man.
But yeah, so together they can easily defeat Psycho. Huzzah, the day is won.
And then fortunately Darkseid is like impressed by Harley by the end of this fight.
So he's like, hey, you want to control the earth?
I don't know if he was impressed by the kiss or what he was.
just how she handled herself the whole way through.
Yeah. So she's like, I will let you be the ruler of Earth. But Harley's like, nah, I'm good. And then he's like, he doesn't immediately take it out on them, but he kind of like foreshadows that like he's a little upset about it and might come back later.
Yeah. He's like, you've made an enemy today. I'm annoyed.
I don't know if Darkseid is a thing that's going to be like a bigger thing going forward in the show or not, but we'll see. And Harley has a quote that she says to Darkseid when she's declining the offer, where she's like, I don't even know if I'm a bad guy anymore.
Yeah.
Harley is really coming all the way around here.
Yeah.
With her character. Becoming extremely likable finally, Sarah. Which they need to do. They need to do this.
Yeah.
They need to do this. If Ivy's gonna switch, it better be believable. So I appreciate this level of effort that the show is putting in.
And then Harley makes a big speech again. And before Ivy can respond, like Kite Man wakes up because he had been punched in the face. And Dr. Psycho, you know, he's a dick. And he's been tooling around in Ivy's head, so he's able to project the memory of them hooking up. And he projects it like in the sky, like in front of all of Gotham. So everybody knows that they've been boning.
Yeah.
Dr. Psycho's petty.
So now Kite Man knows. And I wrote in my notes, sad Kite Man.
Yes, Kite Man sad.
But even after this, in the next episode, Ivy is still trying to marry Kite Man.
Yep.
I think we're on the final episode finally.
We are. So now Dr. Psycho, the Riddler, and Harley are all back in Arkham, and Ivy and Kite Man are going forward with their wedding.
And you would think, oh, Kite Man should be pissed at Ivy. But in order to win Kite Man back, Ivy just goes and kills Condiment King and his wife.
So that way they can have the wedding venue he wants.
Yeah. I think she gets like Frank just to like eat them like in like one bite.
It's like, this is this man's great nemesis. You know, like he's theoretically put a lot of effort into fighting him and having trouble defeating him. And she's literally playing on her phone while she has her pet plant eat him.
Yeah.
He's so out of his league. Like he can't compete with this woman.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't make it a bad relationship that they're not on the same level professionally. Yeah. I was a little sad to see Condiment King go.
I was not.
Oh no, Condiment King.
Because if there's anybody I like less than Kite Man, it's Condiment King. No, Kite Man's really not that bad. I just like to be mean.
Kite Man better be his thing in season 3. Kite Man better not be going anywhere in this show. He's great. But Gotham is like kind of back to normal now.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of back to where we are. Like Gordon is back, Justice League is back, Batman is back.
Presumably they're back part of the United States again, so they've got, you know, trade and food coming in and out or whatever.
Yeah, I guess, because they don't actually kill Harley, but
she's in Arkham, so
counts, she is in Arkham. Yeah, okay, you're right. That's why she had to go. I was wondering, like, why is she in Arkham? I thought she just kind of like gave herself up because she was depressed. which may be what
Also,
happened. But
maybe, yeah.
she actually had to go to Arkham in order like for Gotham to go back to normal. So that makes sense. Two-Face is also in Arkham. He's not dead. So the whole idea in Arkham is Harley's like super depressed and like not very motivated.
And Frank and King Shark and Clayface show up to break her out to go to the wedding, and she's just like, nope.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Two-Face gives Gordon an idea to like bust Ivy's wedding because basically like a bunch of like the villains in the city are going to be there. Because Gordon's still a little like his story is that like he's not getting the credit he deserves, kind of. The mayor of the city hasn't like acknowledged that he was a big part of the rescue mission in Gotham.
Yeah. Everybody else got a key to the city, but he did not.
Yeah, so he's still on like a mission to get validated for his heroics. And Two-Face realizes this, so he gives him the idea to like bust Ivy's wedding and be like a big hero who captures all these villains that are going to be there. And then after he talks to Gordon, he goes to Harley and is like tells Harley that Gordon is going to like mess up Ivy's wedding in order to like get Harley motivated
Help him
to
break
out
out.
of Arkham. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yada yada, it works. And now they're out of Arkham already.
Yes.
So Harley's gonna like basically go over to the wedding and she's like trying to figure out like, is Gordon there? Like, what's going on? Did like Two-Face even tell her the truth, kind of thing? And at first she's gonna run into Kite Man, and this is first awkward interaction that she's gonna have.
Yes. And she's like still supposed to be like the maid of honor in this wedding, which is also very awkward.
We find out later that like Kite Man doesn't really want her to be there, so I don't know if she was really supposed to be there, but there was never like an official telling her not to come because she was in Arkham anyway.
Well, I think when King Shark and Clayface try to break her out, they're like, Ivy still wants you to come. So at the very least, that information was somewhere.
Oh, okay. But this interaction between Kite Man and Harley is like Kite Man is like obviously like struggling with seeing her, and you can tell that Kite Man is also now struggling with the whole situation of the love triangle.
Yeah.
I love this stuff here. And then Harley's going to run into Ivy, and Ivy's going to have a very similar kind of interaction where she's struggling to see Harley as well. And she actually decides to tell Harley to leave. And she thinks she's like being crazy. And she thinks that Harley is about to just like ruin her wedding, like out of selfishness and paranoia or whatever the reason is.
And like this little speech she gives her, it almost sounds like she's saying like, we probably shouldn't be around each other like at all anymore, you know? It feels bigger than just leave the wedding.
Yeah, it's more it's like almost like a permanent breakup of friendship entirely. So again, Harley's sad, very sad.
Big sad.
But she's about to finally give up and leave, but she like picks up a flower on the way out, and then when she leaves, she smells it and it's like, oh wait, this is a plastic flower. And she immediately puts together like, okay,
something is wrong.
There's no way Ivy would have plastic flowers at her wedding. So like she hasn't been able to find any hint of Gordon yet. Because the audience gets to see that Gordon is actually like dressed up as the what you call it,
the priest.
The priest, yeah, that's gonna like do the ceremony, but he has like a different beard, so Harley isn't able to recognize him.
She does try to attack a different man with a mustache, though.
Yeah. So it inspires Harley to come back, and she's not going to give up. She knows Gordon is still trying to ruin the wedding, and she still wants to be there for Ivy with whatever she wants, even though it's not her that she's choosing like, right now.
She's actively trying to make sure that Ivy marries this guy.
You know what, Sarah? I'm liking this Harley Quinn character, you know?
Oh, finally. Nice.
she's turned it around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's eventually gonna like see a guy, like somebody that she's like, there's no way this is not a police officer, and she is able to like expose the fact that the police are there.
But like right before this, Kite Man is able to get his vows out, and he's just like, yeah, we're gonna pop out a couple of kids and like make some chili and sit on the couch, and this is our life. And Ivy's like, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? This was a mistake. It's all cracking for her now.
But the police are actually going to be able to like use gas to like take down all the supervillains at this wedding, essentially.
Yes.
Except Harley was able to get a gas mask on like before, so she's the only one left.
And she found a rocket launcher somewhere. Kind of forget how that happened, but she like rockets a hole in the roof, and then the gas is able to escape and everybody can wake up again.
Yeah, she saves everybody essentially. And then once all the villains are back awake, like it starts this full-on villains versus cops fight.
Big fight.
But while this fight's going on, Harley and Ivy and Kite Man are all going to be like hiding together, and they have this like whole emotional moment where Harley is like, "Hey, I'm actually like a ordained
ordained on the internet just for this event."
Yeah, so she had like she was like the good like bridesmaid of like she had backup plans if things went wrong.
And she's like, "Here, we're still like at the corn factory. Let's do this. We're you married right now."
Yeah, like in the middle of this fight, yeah.
And like Ivy's still sort of going with it, even though she had that moment where she saw her future and didn't like it. She's like, "Okay, let's do it." And Kite Man's just like, "No, stop it. This is too much."
Kite Man and finally the one to say we have to not do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not for him though, still, Sarah. He says he still wants to marry Ivy, but he knows that she doesn't. And that's why he calls it off. So this is a pretty stand-up guy.
Yes, but also like it's in his benefit to not marry a person who's not going to love him. Like, it's not completely selfless.
I can't believe how harsh you are on this guy. This is unbelievable.
Just saying that not marrying a person who doesn't love you does not get you the biggest star. It's also self-serving to a certain extent.
I like the idea that you love somebody so much that their happiness precedes yours,
Oh, yes. Yes.
I think that's very admirable. And that's how I took this moment.
Okay.
He flies away.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just Harley and Ivy. And they escape together in a car. And Ivy admits to Harley that she loves her back.
And then they kiss and ride off into the sunset while they're being chased by cops.
The end of season 2.
But it does literally say the end. But then they throw on a question mark because they're being snarky.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually notice that. Oh man, that was fun. That was really long.
It was a lot. It was a big undertaking.
Yeah. But yeah, so what are you looking for in season 3 of this show? What do you want to see?
I want to see them doing some environmental terrorism.
Oh, okay. That'd be good.
Some smooching and
just hooking up with each other. That's what you want to see.
I would like to see them happy and in love while they save the planet. And also I want Bane to come back.
Yes.
And some more Frank time would be good. I like Frank.
Maybe we need a love triangle with Bane involved. That'd be great.
I would watch that.
I don't know what I want to see specifically, but I definitely want Kite Man to still be in the show. Like I like this guy.
Oh, there's gonna be some quality awkward interactions. Like I think that's what he'd be good for.
There better be a continuation of this, and then hopefully like some other character will come along. You know what? What if like Kite Man and Catwoman end up together? That'd be great, right?
Talk about a match that makes no sense. Jeez,
dude, Kite Man's a great guy. Anyone would be lucky to have him, in my opinion.
He is not the kind of guy that Catwoman would go for.
I know, but that's why it would make it so adorable for her to like see the goodness in him or whatever.
I don't think she wants goodness though.
Catwoman's like only weakness is that she can't fly though, They could do some serious heisting together with their powers combined.
That's true.
He just like flies over, drops her off, she steals it, and then he picks her up and leaves. It's a great team.
Great heisting team does not make for a great romance, though.
I know, but it could trigger the situation to be near each other.
That's true. There's potential.
Is the key ingredient in all romantic relationships.
Yes, proximity.
But yeah, I am very excited for season 3 of the show.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, what are we gonna do next time, Sarah?
I don't know. What are we going to do next time? This is the part where I just get told what we're going to do next time because you've come up with a good, timely idea.
Yeah, well, I don't have any. I'm out of plans.
Oh.
I'm out of plans that are time sensitive. So I believe it's your turn to decide what we want.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah, for real.
10 episodes in and I get to pick it. Okay. Ghost. We're going to watch Ghost. The BBC version, the first 2 episodes.
First 2 episodes. Okay.
Yes. Because like the first episode's kind of like set up, but the second episode gets into like what the show really is,
Yeah, I got you. What streaming service is this available on?
This is available on HBO Max.
HBO Max. Oh, perfect. That's what Harley was on.
And yeah, they're 20, 30-minute episodes, little shorties. So it's not going to be a big investment.
Do you want to give a high-level description of this show for anybody that didn't hear us talk about it many episodes ago?
Sure. So a woman and her husband inherit an old fancy house, and it's full of ghosts.
But it's a comedy, right?
But yes, it's a comedy.
Okay.
So they're like ghosts from different time periods, and they're all like stuck there because that's where they died, and something happens and she can suddenly see ghosts. So she becomes aware of all the ghosts in their old house.
The ghosts are like, they are the form of humans.
Oh yeah, they're just like normal people pretty much.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah,
it's not, there's nothing scary about these ghosts.
Oh no, this is not scary at all.
Okay, great. I'm in.
I think it'll be a good time. Yeah, excited.
Okay, where can people contact us, Sarah, if they want to let us know any thoughts that they have about the show?
You can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com. That's keepwatchingpod. You can tweet at us at keepwatchingpod. You can Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod. Or you can leave a comment on YouTube at keepwatchingpod.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.